Right to the next song. Right now. Okay? Are you ready?
You are all on fire. Hey, you know this video.
The stadium lights slowly dimmed, leaving a sea of light from thousands of light sticks twinkling like stars. The cheers never subsided, only intensifying as the two most anticipated figures stepped onto the stage, Taehyung and Jungkook. However, no one was prepared for what would happen in the next few seconds. It all started like any other moment. The music played, the choreography was flawless, and the crowd's energy filled every corner of the stadium. But something felt different. Taehyung's gaze that night, more intense, sharper, as if harboring something he'd never shown before. Jungkook, standing just a few feet away, seemed focused on his movements. However, as the song entered a calmer section, Taehyung slowly approached. Unhurried, unobtrusive, but enough to make some of the fans in the front row start screaming hysterically. The seconds seemed to slow. The cameras captured every angle, the large screen magnifying every tiny movement. Taehyung stopped right in front of Jungkook. Without warning, without a clear script, he did something that made the entire stadium fall silent, and then explode in an instant. The gesture was simple, yet meaningful. It seemed spontaneous, bold, and completely unexpected. Jungkook was taken aback. His expression changed in a split second, from focus to nervousness, then embarrassment. Cheers erupted. The audience stood, some covering their mouths in disbelief, while others immediately reached for their phones. The moment was captured from every angle, and within minutes, the world off stage began to watch. Jungkook tried to distract himself, chuckling, even looking down slightly as if trying to hide his reaction. But Taehyung? He remained calm, even smiling faintly, as if he knew exactly what he had just done. The interaction lasted only a few seconds, but its impact was felt far longer. The song continued, the performance continued, but the atmosphere had changed. There was a new energy, a mix of surprise, excitement, and unanswered curiosity. It didn't take long for the clip to go viral. Social media was filled with video clips, slow-motion footage, and analysis from various perspectives. Every movement was studied, every expression interpreted. Some fans were convinced it was just fan service. Others believed there was a deeper meaning behind it. The debate began. Was it truly spontaneous? Or was it planned? What made things even more interesting was Jungkook's reaction afterward. In the next few seconds, he seemed to avoid eye contact with Taehyung several times, continuing to smile awkwardly. But Taehyung, on the other hand, seemed increasingly confident. He glanced at Jungkook several times, teasingly, as if daring a bigger reaction. The audience picked up on this dynamic. The screams grew louder every time the two were in the same frame. Even the other members seemed a little surprised, though they maintained their professionalism on stage. That moment marked the turning point of the evening. From a mere concert, it became an unforgettable experience, not just for those in attendance, but also for the millions watching on their screens. Within hours of the event, related hashtags skyrocketed. Videos uploaded by fans were viewed millions of times. Comments flooded in, ranging from shock to amusement to utter bewilderment. Analysis after analysis followed. Some slowed the video down to 0.25x, trying to capture the smallest details. Others compared it to previous moments, searching for patterns or hidden clues. However, until then, there had been no official clarification, no explanation. And that's precisely what made things even more intriguing. A small mystery left open. Was it simply a performer's spontaneity on stage? Or was there something more personal behind the gesture? These questions continued to swirl in the minds of fans. What was certain was that that night had created one of the most iconic moments of their career. A fleeting second that turned into a global phenomenon. And perhaps, precisely because there were no definitive answers, the moment would live on, replayed, talked about, and remembered as one of the greatest surprises ever to happen on stage. In the days since the incident, the excitement has not subsided. In fact, every video clip that appears to reveal a new perspective. Some noticed Taehyung's hand movements before the moment occurred, while others highlighted Jungkook's seemingly changing breathing afterward. Interestingly, in one of the clips from a different angle, Jungkook is clearly visible, frozen for a fraction of a second longer than many realized. This small detail only fueled further speculation. Did he really not expect this? On the other hand, fans who had been following their journey from the beginning felt something familiar. Not because a similar incident had happened before, but because the long-building chemistry seemed to reach its peak in one unexpected moment. Some even began to connect the incident to small interactions from the past, brief glances, behind-the-scenes jokes, and even small gestures that might have once been taken for granted, but now took on new meaning. Meanwhile, the clip began to make its way onto various global media platforms. Not only K-pop fans, but also general audiences began to talk about it. Many claimed to be unaware of the context, but still felt the moment was different. Amidst all this, one thing that was most interesting was how neither of them directly addressed the incident. In their subsequent performances, they remained professional, performing as usual, but for those who were observant, there were subtle changes in the way they interacted. Jungkook seemed a little more guarded, though his smile remained as warm as ever. Taehyung, on the other hand, seemed more relaxed, as if there was nothing to hide about what had happened. Some fans saw their silence as a strategy, letting the public speculate, building hype without saying anything. But others believed perhaps there really was nothing to explain. And ultimately, perhaps that was the power of that moment. It wasn't about what actually happened, but about how one small gesture could stir the emotions of millions, uniting curiosity, awe, and imagination in a story that lived on, even long after the stage lights went out. Over time, the moment endured not only as a viral clip, but also transformed into a kind of mini-legend among fans. Every time a new concert was announced, many secretly hoped for a similar event, or at least, a continuation of that unanswered interaction. The discussion grew, even down to seemingly trivial details. The way Taehyung stood before approaching, the direction of his gaze, and the seemingly precise timing. Everything was analyzed like pieces of an incomplete puzzle. Some fans even began to create their own narrative theories. They imagined what might have happened backstage after the lights went down. Were they laughing together? Was Jungkook flirting back? Or was there an awkward silence that wasn't captured by the cameras? Interestingly, this moment also influenced how people watched their subsequent performances. Every small interaction now felt like it had the potential to become something big. A lyric sung while glancing at each other was enough to send the audience into a frenzy. This demonstrates the powerful impact a single spontaneous moment can have on public perception. In the often structured and planned world of entertainment, the events that feel real are often the most memorable. But beneath all that, there were also fans who tried to see it more simply. That perhaps it was simply an expression of togetherness, familiarity, and comfort between two people who had been through so much together for so many years. But it was precisely this simplicity that some found difficult to accept. Because when something feels so genuine, so natural, people often want to search for a deeper meaning, even if that meaning never truly existed. Meanwhile, the media continues to recap the moment in various forms: compilations, other celebrities' reactions, and even body language analysis from experts. Everyone tries to provide an answer, though none are truly definitive. And perhaps that's what makes the moment timeless. Not because of its grand scale, but because of its ambiguity. A brief moment between Kim Taehyung and Jungkook that continues to live in endless interpretations, a story that never truly ends.